Hey everybody, this is the Sliders Review, and I'm here today to talk to you about Young Hercules, the 1998 TV movie. I love this movie so much. Growing up, I was obsessed with it. And like the reason why is because like I grew up watching the Hercules, the Legendary Journeys, and Xena Warrior Princess growing up, right? And so like in the Hercules show, it's an adult, full-grown Hercules who's probably in his late 30s, early 40s, something like that. And then at some point in time, around like the second season, they introduced a young Hercules flashback. And, that really spoke to me because, I was like, I think probably like, I was either in elementary, going into middle school. I remember Xena came out when I was in middle school, I remember. So I was like a teenager, pre-teenager, something like that. So, how it is, it's kind of like the whole Batman Robin thing. Robin was introduced for like a younger audience, and that's what the young Hercules character was for. And so he was just like so cool, man. You know what I'm saying? And so, like, they had this idea at some point to be all like, hey, since the Young Hercules episodes are like very popular, because they will have about like maybe two, maybe three, like per season and stuff, except for the last season. And so they was like, very, very, very popular and everything. And so they thought to themselves, hey, let's make that money. You know what I'm saying? And so they what was it? So they had like a little like backdoor kind of like pilot movie type thing that later on went into that of a series. And so this movie was that of like the kind of like a backdoor pilot like series, but it was in the movie format. And I remember, like, I had no idea this was even created at the time because I don't even know what channel it aired on because, Hercules and Xena was in syndication. And so, like, I remember I was watching a Hercules episode called, like, Yes, Virginia, there is a Hercules. And that was like the biggest like meta type episode you could ever get. And you gotta appreciate the 90s for how creative they were. Because, Hercules, the Legendary Journeys was a series set in ancient Greece about Achilles and everything. That's the Greek way of saying Hercules. The Roman way of saying it is just Hercules. And so like it's set back in the old days, you know what I'm saying? Like I think before Christ or something like that. And so within the series, they did like a future flash forward episode where it's in the modern day and they all like, hey, let's make a Hercules TV show, the studio and everything. And they had all the recurring characters play like real life people who like run the studio and everything. Having Kevin Sorbo having Hercules play a fictional Kevin Sorbo playing Hercules and stuff. It was the most meta thing ever and one of the funniest episodes I've ever seen. And in that, they had like clips of like, what to do because they couldn't find Kevin because Kevin, aka Hercules, was out saving the world. And so so it's mostly just him in like clips and stuff. And so they showed clips of like young Hercules. I'm like, wait, I don't remember this scene, like, of him, like, at the academy and training, and him not knowing who Aeolus is that well, and fighting Ares for the first time. Like, where was this at? So I'm like, this must be something that I must have missed somehow. And the internet wasn't the way the internet was back then. Plus, I didn't even have a computer at that time. And so I'm like, what the heck is this? And then so one day, like on a Saturday morning, being the teenager that I am, watching Fox Kids, the greatest channel of them all, they said they're gonna air the Young Hercules movie. I'm all like, oh my God.
what?
I'm like, oh, I gotta record this and everything, you know? So like I was scrambling to find like a blank VHS tape to record it, and I couldn't really find any. So I had to record half of it on one tape and another on the other half on the second tape. I'm like, crap, dude. And then so like I was just like, okay, like, they're gonna like I have to buy a tape. At some point there's gonna be a rerun. I waited and waited and waited and I waited. I was like looking at the TV guide to see when this would ever come on. I think it took like years for it to come back on Fox Kids. And I'm all like, you know, I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm all like, I was like laser focused on that VCR, right? Because I think I didn't have a remote control for the VCR, so I had to go like up to the thing and like press the buttons. I'm all like, as soon as the commercial break comes, I'm gonna hit that pause button like really fast. I'm like, oh no, crap! Like the you know how it was in the VHS days. You record something, you pause it, it will only last for 2 minutes, and then it would like shut itself off. So I had to like wait like like a minute or so, like hit the stop button, hit the play, get at the right moment, pause it, and do it again. When I say I was obsessed with wanting to record this thing as perfectly as I could, I was obsessed with recording it as perfectly as I could. And I watched that tape over and over, and I think it messed up and I couldn't watch it no more. I was pissed. Because Young Hercules was just like a cool thing to me, man. It's like, because Hercules was like a cool hero, but Xena was a million times better. But then Young Hercules was just like even cooler. And so, like, then I remember at some point they came out with the Young Hercules series on television. Now, the Hercules in this TV pilot, Young Hercules was Ian Bowen. And he was the ones from like the Legendary Journeys and the flashback episodes and stuff like that, right? But as some people might know, when the TV series aired just a few months later, Ian was nowhere to be found. All the other recurring characters were, like who played Jason and Aeolus, but not the dude who played Hercules. He was replaced by Ryan Gosling. And I remember him from Goosebumps and the Mickey Mouse Club. I'm just like, who the heck is this? Like, I knew who he was, but I'm like, that's not Ian. Like, why does Hercules all of a sudden have blonde hair? Why is all of a sudden he's wearing like a yellow outfit? To be similar to that of the Legendary Journeys one. Like, where's the brown outfit at? I was disappointed, but I grew to really like Ryan as like Young Hercules and stuff. But he brought a different flavor to it. He had more of a boyish charm, more of a youthful charm to it. And that raspy voice of his, it's kind of like raspy, kind of husky a little bit. So it took a little while to get used to it, but I grew to like really like his version, even though it was like very different. But and so like, but the reason why Ian wasn't Young Hercules no more, because for the longest time it was reported that he simply just didn't want to move to New Zealand to film the show. He's American, and Ryan's Canadian and stuff, and like, I'm not sure how they did it for Young Hercules. I don't know if they flew him out for like 2 weeks to film like the Legendary Journeys and then send him back home, and then whenever the next season comes, or the whole season, did they just keep him there for a month to film like all his episodes and head back? I don't know how they do that process. But like, I can understand not wanting to leave your friends and family back home and stuff like that and live in a different country. However, just a few weeks ago, he was on, I think her name is Katie Sackhoff. That one actress, she has like a podcast on like, YouTube, and she interviewed him and stuff about like, why he wasn't in like the television series and stuff, because so many people grew up knowing him as Young Hercules. And he said, back then he didn't have the best like counseling when it came to like taking on roles and this and that. And he was young, and, he wanted to pursue other things and something about baseball. And he said he doesn't regret his decision. It's just he wished he was more wiser and stuff like that. And, like, because, having your own TV show, man, that's like awesome. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's an opportunity you just don't throw away. And it's the same thing I said about Renee Rapp. and that television show she used to be on, called The Sex Lives of College Students or something like that. Oh no, College Girl, The Sex Lives of College Girls, and like she was the one of the co-leads for 2 seasons. She did a movie and wanted to pursue singing and everything, so she left the show. And it's kind of like one of those things. Was kind of like, I hope it's the right decision, because if not, then you're screwed. And so this is a very, very, very good movie. It's action packed. When I say it's action packed, man, like this is the one thing that's been disappointing me since like the early 2000s on to now. Whenever you see like a superhero show or like an action show, there's only 2 action scenes, or sometimes there's only one. If there's only one, it happens towards the very end of the episode, and it's very brief. If it's 2, then your hero is going to lose that first battle in the beginning of the episode and then win towards the end. And once again, it's very brief. Oh, not back in the 90s, boy. Not back with this Hercules and Xena stuff. They would have action all throughout the episode. Like, you got your action fix on. You know what I'm saying? Because these shows were geared more towards a male audience and stuff. And males like action. A lot of females do too, but mostly it's like guys. And so there's a lot going on in this TV pilot and stuff movie. And so it's also adventurous and stuff. There's even a small like love romance subplot and everything. And it's about good versus evil and doing the right thing, but also making mistakes, because it's a coming of age type movie. And the thing is, like, I truly believe that if they would have had a longer runtime and a bigger budget for better special effects and practical effects, because they have a lot of practical effects. Because this is, Renaissance pictures and stuff. Rob Taper and Sam Raimi used to make, like, these shows and stuff. And so, like, there are so many practical, like, props and sets and effects that it brings me back to the good old days. Like, in this movie, there's like a giant skull head, right? That the characters have to walk by. They actually made a giant skull head, and it's huge. There's also a giant foot, because there's like a giant in this movie, and you see his foot crash down on something. They legit made that. And it's like, you gotta respect that, because now everything's done with CGI. Yeah, there's a CGI snake in here, a giant snake, an anaconda giant snake. But it's more, sometimes it looks good on screen and sometimes it doesn't. Like, the CGI doesn't really hold up. Because, remember, this was back in the late 90s. And on the Hercules and Xena show, like, whatchamacallit, their special effects weren't always great. But they picked and chose what they were going to use CGI for in this movie and what they wasn't, to make it more believable. And I truly believe if they would have had a bigger budget, this could have been a contender at the box office. It would probably end up in probably like number 3, maybe number 5, something like that. But it could have been a contender and stuff. A whole lot better than that animated Hercules and Xena like movie they made. My God, I still haven't even really seen that. Like, I've seen clips. It looks horrible. The animation looks horrible. What the world were they thinking to make Hercules and Xena into animation, but then make it into like a crappy animated movie? Needless to say, it's something fans don't talk about. They have probably forgotten about that. And so in this TV, movie, the only star from, the Hercules series to show up is the actor who plays Aeolus, Michael Hurst. He plays a jeweler. And he also, I think, guest starred in Young Hercules television series. Scumbag actor Kevin Sorbo does not appear in this movie, and thank God for that. I hate this man so stinking much, you just won't believe it. Like, I used to be a fan of his because of this show and stuff, But over the years, and once that man got on social media, he has become disgusting. He is a hate-filled, bigot, prejudice type man. So-called Christian my behind. The things that man say online are not very Christian-like. And so, like, I've always wondered, was he always this hateful, or like did he just grow to be that way because he's bitter that, his acting career isn't what it used to be? No, apparently he was always like that, because like I remember, like I used to follow him on social media until that one time I saw a weird post of his on Facebook. I'm all like, that's a odd thing to say, doing like Black Lives Matter protests and everything. Like that was very like odd. And so I went through his feeds. I'm like, holy crap, he's a bigot. And his other co-stars, I don't think they even follow him from like the Hercules show. Because I used to follow him, remember? And I used to follow them. And none of them follow him and stuff. And him and Lucy, who plays Xena, oh, they hate each other. They've always talked smack about each other over the years, and she revealed a very disgusting thing about what he said about Nicole Simpson, O.J. Simpson's wife, that time she was murdered. And it's just kind of like, why would you say that about a woman who was just murdered? And this made international news. Like, why the world would you say something so disgusting and so inhumane and everything? But remember, he's a so-called Christian and everything. And so, yeah, I hate this man so freaking much. I wish I can't even watch him on screen no more. Like, I got rid of my Hercules DVDs and everything. And so when it comes to this movie, it's supposed to be a prequel to that of the legendary Journey show, and also a prequel to that of the actual Young Hercules show. However, there are some inconsistencies with the continuity of all three projects and stuff. Characters who appear in this, they also appear in like the legendary Journey. Like Chiron, the centaur, he appeared as a dying old man or a centaur in the legendary Journey. So like, cool, we get to see the younger version, right? But then there's a problem with that of Discord in here, because Discord, she's our main villain, and in this she states that Hercules is her half brother along with Ares. This can't be true, because in Young Hercules, Ares is now her uncle, which means Hercules should be her uncle, but she doesn't refer to Hercules as that in the Young television series. And I think in Young Hercules and Legendary Journey, she referred to them as cousins. So what's her relations to them? I have no idea. They've kind of messed that up. And back in that whole Greek mythology thing, the Greek mythology, like the Olympian gods used to bang their cousins and brothers and sisters all the time. Everybody's related in some kind of weird incest kind of way. And so it gets even more confusing once you get to the Young Hercules television series. Because in Legendary Journeys with Young Hercules Ian, it's shown that he met Zeus the time he met Apollo. He's never met his father, and he's barely met any other gods. However, in the Young Hercules series, he meets Zeus towards the end of like the series, but he doesn't know it's Zeus. And so, okay, I can kind of give that a pass, saying like, okay, Zeus pretended to be somebody else, and so he didn't know it was him and stuff like that, right? However, he meets Apollo in the Young Hercules series. That doesn't make no sense, because he doesn't meet Apollo till much later and stuff. And it's just like so confusing. Then there is the whole like Argonauts thing. Like in Legendary Journeys, these are the Argonauts that, went to go find the Golden Fleece and they survived. These group of men. However, in like the TV pilot movie, it's shown that, yeah, there's a group of men, but only a few of them survive. Hercules, Aeolus, Jason, and these two black guys. And as you can see, there are no two black guys here. Not to mention, there's more people that survived than that of the TV pilot movie. And then there's Yavanna. So it's like there's no mention of her in the Legendary Journeys. So it's like, what happened to her character who died and everything? There's no mention of her. Because that one girl here you see in the picture, she's the daughter of one of the Argonauts. And so it's just kind of like, okay, that's very inconsistent in the continuity. Then, in the, I think it was the 4th or 5th season of Legendary Journeys, because after Ian was done, like, doing a TV movie pilot, and he didn't want to go back to New Zealand and film anything, and film the rest. I guess they, they replaced him with like Ryan, but Ryan never showed up as young Hercules in the Legendary Journeys, so that would have been a little bit confusing, right? Well, in the season was that the 5th season? The one, which one was that? That was the one. That was a really good season, Tater. That was the whole Dayhawk stuff and Aeolus, dying, and the one from a parallel dimension coming and stuff. They decided to do an Academy episode that showed the son of Chiron and the daughter of Jason and Lilith. And that right there is a bit of a problem because Lilith showed up in the Young Hercules series, and she was never mentioned in the Legendary Journeys until now, because they're trying to tie it in for the sake of continuity. So that just totally unravels like a whole lot of stuff. And like, so now we have adult Lilith and everything, and they have Ryan playing a completely different character with dark hair. And it's just like one of those things where the TV pilot movie, the Young Hercules series, and Legendary Journeys, and even Xena is just like all over the place in terms of continuity and everything. It's like utterly confusing. So it's just like a cluster of a mess when it comes to like, this entire franchise and stuff. Because I mean, it is a cluster. It is a cluster of like, just like, things all over the place. But yeah, back to like the movie and stuff. So like this came out in 98. And so the television series came out just a couple months later. And so like with this movie, we get to see a Hercules we've never got to see before. Hercules is a combination of Superman and Captain America. He's a person who fights for mankind. In this version, he's humble, he's caring, he'll put like other people's needs before his own. He doesn't fight with a weapon, only his fist, and he's a demigod because he's half god, half mortal. And like, Hercules is that person you want to aspire to be. And so, like, he's known as a champion of mankind. Here, he is a rookie, and he's 18 years old. And so, like, with him being 18, he's brash, he's cocky, he's rude, and he doesn't go around saving people. He's never fought a monster before. He's never fought like bad guys before. And he doesn't travel the world trying to save people. He just lives at home with his mother and his like half brother. I forget his name, but his half brother was jealous that, Hercules had all this strength and he's immortal and all this other stuff. And like, and all kind of like other stuff, you know what I'm saying? And he feels his mom favors him more than him. So I think Iphicles, I think his name was. So he left. Oh, also continuity mess up. In the Legendary Journeys, he meets a golden hide for the first time, but then in the Young series, he also meets a hide for the first time and fall in love with. So it's just kind of like they just copied that Legendary Journey episode and made it more into a kid-friendly episode. So anyway, like I said, it's a cluster. So we get to see a very different type of Hercules, you know? And in this pilot, we get to see him do some very Hercules type stuff. And so this is really good because it's a true origin story of who he is and the person he grew up to be. Like, he's selfish, he's arrogant, and it's just like all that stuff cost him dearly, to where when he became an adult, he realized he had to change his life around. And that's how people should do, but a lot of people are stupid in the world, so you know. And so with his like brash cockiness and everything, like Discord is going to decide to play on this. Now Discord, she's cool. I've always liked her as a villain in the Legendary series. She's I'm trying to think of the actress name. Oh, what is her name? I think it's Megan Desmond. And so, like, she had a small acting career, but then she was Sam Raimi's brother, like, personal assistant. And, you know, she, well, for now, is the half brother of Hercules in this. And she's actually our main villain. I thought it would have been Ares because Ares is in this. But no, it's actually her. She's the one putting things in motion trying to kill Hercules because Zeus has protection over his half-mortal children, and especially that of Hercules. In the television show, if you mess with Hercules and try to kill him, Zeus will hit you with a lightning bolt. Here, the gods' powers are like they're depowered in this TV pilot movie for some reason. Like when you see air, I'll get to Ares a little bit later, but they don't throw fireballs or plasma balls. They don't teleport. They don't shoot lightning. They don't do what they normally do in a television show that makes it all flashy. It's more of a realistic type thing they're trying to do with them. They're just super strong and, you know, stuff like that. So she is the one actually putting everything in motion because she really, really hates Hercules, and she's trying to get, like, you know, praise from that of her older brother Ares. Now in the Young Hercules show, she's mostly a comedic character along with that of Strife. And so it's mostly just her and Strife tagging and partnering, trying to get Hercules and stuff like that, right? Now what's interesting in the Young Hercules series, they first gave her traditional black outfit, right? That bondage looking type sexy outfit you see. But because it was on Fox Kids, they had toned her down. So they put her in this red outfit. I wish it would have been black because that's what she's mostly known for wearing. But they put it in a red outfit. And so it's like, okay, whatever. Like that pissed me off. I missed her old outfit back then, you know. But Ares in this is really odd. Now, when I heard of young Hercules, I assumed there would be a young Ares, but no, it's like the adult versions of all the gods. So that was always weird seeing a grown man fight like a teenager. And so like, may Kevin Smith rest in peace. Yes, the other Kevin Smith, a New Zealand actor, very good actor and stuff. He died filming his first American movie with Nicolas Cage. He was on some kind of scaffolding and he failed and plummeted and died. So tragic and everything. And so like, this Ares is completely different. He dresses a little differently. He still has his black leather, but he's wearing more of like a trench coat type robe. And for some odd reason, like, here's the thing, he's never met Hercules before. And because of that, he just doesn't even think of Hercules. He doesn't give no thought about him in several years. He just could care less. He knows he's Zeus's favorite, but and that really pisses him off to where he hates him. But it's gotten to the point where he's just like, whatever, you know. And for some odd reason, in this entire movie, he talks in a more like um grown up kind of way, if you would. He's not so dramatic, he's not so evil, and he's not that charming. He's just mostly captain. I don't know, it's weird. It's like he talks differently in this movie. It's kind of hard to describe it. Like if you ever watched him in the adult Hercules show, you know that he's just flat out evil and mean. If you see him in Young Hercules, he's evil, mean, and comedic because it was more like a kid show. And in Xena, he's more suave, more like flirtatious with Xena, but in a dark kind of way because he loves Xena. And so it's like he's dark and evil, but in a more suave, debonair kind of way. Here, he's kind of more, he kind of has that suaveness, but more of a mature, not into you kind of way. Like it's kind of hard to explain. But for some odd reason, he's pretending to be the long lost brother Peleus to that of Aeson, the king. He's poisoning Aeson and has taken over his kingdom and is killing lots of his people. And I'm like, why is Ares doing this? Like, yeah, this is something Ares would do. He would manipulate somebody, and sometimes he would pretend to be somebody else. But when he pretends to be somebody else, he actually transforms his body to look like somebody else. Or he'll have his minions, like, further the war with somebody else. It's just kind of odd he would do all this and, like pretend to be somebody else's, like, brother and rule their army, but you don't never see his army go out and murder folks or do warlike stuff. 'Cause that's how he gets his power, through war. No war, he's depowered, as shown in Xena and stuff. And so, like, it's just kind of weird that he has control of this kingdom, but the only thing he's really doing is killing the townspeople who oppose him and building a giant statue of his face and body and stuff. And I don't get the purpose of Ares in this movie, but they put him in here because they figured, okay, we have to have a bigger bad guy type person. Who better than Ares? Because Ares hates Hercules the most. And so I guess they figured people wouldn't buy it if Discord was like, the main villain. Plus, in the hand-to-hand combat, they don't want to show Hercules fight like a woman. You know what I'm saying? And so Ares is kind of just like inserted in this movie, and he doesn't even feel like Ares. He's not even really making stuff happen. Like I said, it's all Discord and stuff. And he's just like odd in this movie. And then all of a sudden, towards the end, he has a big hissy fit, talking about your daddy's favorite and blah, blah, blah. And it's time to rumble, little brother. And they start fighting. It's like, it's weird. He's just inserted into this movie. So Discord lets Ares know that Hercules is messing around and wanting his temples, because Hercules is there to impress Zeus by stealing an urn that's in Ares' temple, because Ares stole it from Zeus. So Hercules gonna get it back and hope this will impress his father. So he's bungee jumping down, rappelling down to the thing, and that's really cool to see. And he's upside down, and he's just like walking around the temple, and there are traps in the temple. Now the traps, I wish could be more traps, more elaborate, but they didn't have the budget for it. Like, I just got through reviewing the 2018 Tomb Raider movie, and their traps in that movie were awesome. So if they would have had that budget, it would have looked so much better in this. So basically, it's just like a giant spike ball on like a chain. It's like these large blades going back and forth. It's like these big wooden logs with spikes that are going back and forth. Little simple stuff like that. And he steals the urn, and all of a sudden it unleashes like a giant snake that was encased in stone. So he has to fight the snake off, punch it and everything, run from it. It has like a long tongue. He's trying to run up the steps, and it triggers like this slide effect where the steps turn into a slide. And so he basically defeats the snake by outsmarting it to make it go in between the giant moving blades. And it legit chopped his head off, and there's green goo all over his body. Now, here's the thing, right? When this aired on Fox Kids, they had to make it like for younger audience. They had to make it like PG. They couldn't have like a giant snake head chopping off, and they couldn't show like because in the actual real movie, there is like brief nudity. There is like, the chopping off the head of the snake. The giant gets a giant spike in the skull. And like, they had to cut out some of the dialogue and everything that sounded a little too violent, like talking about, oh, we're gonna kill Hercules and stuff like that. They couldn't do that on Fox Kids, so they had to like edit it. Plus they had to edit it to make like, either an hour and a half or 2 hour like programming. And so you can actually find the full version on DVD. Now, I don't know if the DVD is still in print or not. I actually own it on DVD, and thank God I do, because like you can't find this on streaming. It's only on YouTube, but you have to pay to watch it, which is crazy. A lot of like, the Hercules and Xena stuff is now like, you have to pay for. It's no longer on free streaming. And so I know so the Young Hercules television show, that is still on DVD and you can get a new copy. But see, yeah, right here, the actual movie, you gotta get a used copy. And that sucks. Yeah, gotta get a used copy. In fact, let me see if the TV show is new or is it a used copy. I think it's new. Yeah, it's new. And it's actually on sale right now because it's the holidays. And so, yeah, if you ever try to find it, you're gonna do some soul searching on the internet, if you know what I mean. Or buy it on YouTube, or just buy it on DVD or whatever. And so after he escapes like the temple and everything, he meets up with his mother, Alcmene. Now, this is like the 6th different actress to play Alcmene, and like the 3rd to play the young Alcmene and stuff. And so like, this version is the only one who has brown hair for some reason, which is always wondered, because like in the adult version, that Hercules has like blondish brown hair, Ian has dark brown hair, and Ryan has blonde. So, and so like, Alcmene is played by Rachel Blankley, and I think she still acts, I think. And so she wants to know what Hercules has been up to, and he told her, and she's pissed at him. But then we finally get to see young Aeolus. Now, we saw him in the Legendary Journeys, like, flashback episodes, and we also saw him in the Young Hercules show, and he's played by the same actor, Dean O'Gorman. And Dean is great as young Aeolus. I really thought he was a teenager playing this role. I honestly felt like, wait a minute, did this dude transform back in time and actually look that young and everything? Like, he is a perfect young Aeolus. In this version, him and Hercules barely know each other. They're not best friends, and they actually can't really stand each other because Aeolus is in a gang of like thieves and stuff. His dad was in the military, and that caused Aeolus to be like a really bad boy and steal and stuff like that. And so when he sees that Hercules has like treasure, well, actually, he stole a bunch of jewelry from this one dude and gave it to his gang. And then when he saw Hercules has this chalice type thing, he wants it. So they struggle, and it opens and it releases like a twister and everything. So now, there's a tornado flying around in the little like town. So Aeolus gets swept up into the air, and his mom and Hercules' mom say, help Aeolus out. So Hercules, thinking as fast as he can, puts like rope around his waist, ties it to like a log, stuffs the log into the ground, and uses it to hold him as he's flying up in the air trying to get Aeolus. Somehow, when he grabs onto Aeolus, this causes the twister to go away somehow. I don't know how, but it does. So while home, Hercules' mother is pissed and wants to know why he goes on these like dumb, like little tiny missions to impress his father, and his father abandoned him. And Hercules just wants to know his father. He wants to know who he is and everything. He wants to know what it's like to be a man. Like he has no idea, you know what I'm saying? He's just a young boy who is lost in the world wanting to find himself, and the one person who can explain it is not there. And so many people can relate to that, especially those who've been abandoned by their father. So she tells him he is getting too much for her, and you know, her other son leaving, it's best if he goes away and train. She knows he's destined for more, and he's not gonna find it there. So she sends him to Chiron's like academy to train, a military academy for young boys and stuff. He doesn't want to go, but she tells him, you know, he's a very wise man and he can teach you a lot. So Hercules goes on that journey, and he goes to, like, you know, the academy. And when he's there, he's just looking at all the guys training and everything, and just think they're wasting their time, thinking, when are they ever going to learn to fight in these skills? Like, are they really going to join like the army and be in a war? And he just thinks they're just foolish and wasting their time. It's there he meets Jason. Jason is played by Chris Conrad. I think he was in those Twilight movies. I think he was in some kind of movie. I remember. I can't remember what it was, but he plays young Jason, the Prince of Corinth, and everything. And we got to see, you know, an older version of Jason pop in and out of the older Hercules series. And it's sad how Jason became, like, when he got older, he became a drunk. Then, you know, he gave up his kingdom, and at some point in time, he started like hanging with Hercules, only to be written out and stuff like that. And that's kind of how he is in the young Hercules series. He's there for a while, but then during the second half of the season, they wrote him completely out. And so, like, you know, it's Jason who kind of, you know, tells him, you know, man, like, be cool and everything. These are great guys, and you know, everybody here is to impress their father, and you know, he's trying to get out of Hercules who his father, but Hercules doesn't tell people who his dad is and stuff. And so, like, it's there that he realizes Aeolus is also there. And he doesn't really like Aeolus because of what happened in the marketplace and stuff. And so his partner is Aeolus. So those two are constantly having to partner together, and they're bickering. Hercules is smacking him around, tripping him up, and not being a team player. And this pisses off Chiron and stuff. And so when we meet Chiron, he is played by that of Nathaniel Lees. And this dude is an amazing New Zealand actor. Like, this man can really, you know, give some like really good material in the scene when he's acting in. And so, like, Chiron is a centaur. And Hercules thought he was a janitor at first. And he is the one who talks a lot of sense into Hercules and becomes Hercules' mentor. And he's also in the young Hercules series, but by the adult series, he dies and stuff. He also is the one who helps Hercules train, because Hercules had never really truly fought nobody before. And so he noticed that Hercules comes in late at night when everybody else is asleep, and he practiced how to fight by himself. And it's a really cool montage scene of him, like, you know, training. He's on these pillars with a staff, and it's just like one of the most awesome choreographies you'll ever see. But then Chiron wants him to do it blindfolded, knowing that, you know, one day you might not always have your sight and you have to use your other senses and stuff. And he tells Chiron, you know, this is going to be too hard. And Chiron tells him, never, ever give up. Even Chiron can tell that this dude is destined to be better than who he is. Somehow Chiron knows that Hercules is the son of Zeus when most other people do not know. And so at this point, Aeolus is fed up at the academy. He's tired of Hercules. He's tired of falling on his face, and he wants to leave, but Hercules won't let him. So they have like a brief like skirmish around a horse. And it's, like I said, the choreography and the action is like, it's awesome in this thing. It's just, you would never think these two would be fighting near a horse and everything, like sliding on the horse and hopping over the horse and all this other stuff. So eventually Aeolus falls into poop, manure, and they meet our female character. I love her so much. Yavina. Yavina is played by Jonah Stewart Bowen. And she's was a 90s actress. She doesn't act no more. And she is amazing in this like TV movie. I love her character so much and everything. Like, first of all, she's gorgeous, she's headstrong, she's caring, and she's on her own little mission. And she's the only girl at the academy, so the boys are like they're just like shell shocked and everything. And it's like she's letting them know that she doesn't need help from nobody, like never and everything. And this causes her to kind of clash a little bit with Hercules. But the thing about her is that how like in modern days people hate the way female characters are written. They're written to be very rude towards like men, and they don't show no emotions, and they can do like everything. She's kind of like that, but not. She's your old school, like true, like strong female character, similar to that of like Xena. And so I'm always comparing people to Xena because that's just the best thing when it comes to like female characters. Like Yavina, she like she's cocky and she's a little arrogant and rude, but there's like a specific reason for that. She's strong, she's caring, she'll sacrifice herself, and she actually shows emotion and empathy and everything. Like the reason why she is there because she failed big time in her life and she has to prove herself and everything. And you'll find out more about that later on in the movie when she has this big confession and stuff. And it's so sad to hear why she went to the academy because of how she failed in life and everything. And like, this is the way you write female characters and stuff back in the good old 90s and stuff. It's okay to have emotions and everything. And so this is where like, you can tell she's kind of into Hercules. He's a little bit into her and everything. Like they're giving each other like the look, but they're not like overly doing the love interest thing. It's not like they're gushing over each other the entire time. So like, he's in like the lake taking a bath, and yeah, you see brief nudity. You see like this tall guy at the side of him, and you see like a little bit of his butt area on the side, but you don't see no more than that. And I was surprised they was able to show that on Fox Kids, but they didn't show him actually running. You just hear him splashing into the water because they had to cut that part out. And so she sees him and she's all like, I want to be treated like, one of the guys. So you're taking a bath, I'm going to take a bath with you. He's just kind of like, get out. And so then there's like this guy running looking for Jason. And this is when our story starts. Somebody was able to sneak a letter out of Corinth and give it to that of Jason, talking about how his father is like ill and Peleus has taken over. Jason, with no hesitation, he's going to go and help save his father. Hercules and Aeolus goes with him. And as they're there, Ares sent like 2 warriors to like fight them on chariots and stuff. This is one of my favorite scenes because the beach is gorgeous and everything. It's beautifully lit when the sun is falling and everything, and it has kind of like this amber filter, but there's no real filter to it. It's just the sunlight from glistening off the sand and everything. It's gorgeous and everything. And so they're fighting these 2 guys, and Aeolus and Jason are doing their best, and Hercules trying to like stop the dude with the chariot, and then he's able to overpower that guy and get Aeolus and Jason, and then they head to Corinth. It's from there they have to use their brains to get in because Corinth is no longer the way it looked when Jason left. Jason was literally there a month ago, and now it looks like this thanks to Ares and stuff. So they have to use their brains to get past the guards. Aeolus has the idea of being like a drunk with a beard and throwing up on the guards. As he's throwing up on them to distract them, Hercules and Jason takes out the 2 guards. It's there that, Jason tries to talk to his father, but can't. And this is when Ares shows up as Peleus, and Hercules has no idea who he is. And so he tells them, if you want to save your father, you have to get the golden fleece. The reason why Ares told them that is because the golden fleece, to get it, meets your certain doom. There's all kind of obstacles you have to go through and stuff. Mostly like the protector of the island and also some sirens. And so like so this is like starting off the adventures of Jason and the Argonauts. Now, Jason and the Argonauts is a big heroic tale that's been told for so many years. And this is like, the Hercules version of it, where they're on the boat called the Argus. Now, the Argus, they use a different boat for this movie than they did in the Legendary Journeys. And this one is the one with the giant eyeball on the side, but it's different looking in the series. I'm not sure why, because in the series, there was an episode called Once a Hero, and where the Argonauts meet back up to re-get the fleece because it's been stolen from Jason and stuff. And so it was literally a year ago they shot that episode, so I'm not sure why the continuity has changed and everything. And because they still have all their props and everything, so I'm not sure why. So So they're gathering some of the cadets and everything. Yavina wants to come, and they're gathering supplies. And as they're about to leave, Chiron stops that of Hercules and tells him, are you doing this for like selfish reasons, or are you doing this to help your friend out? Hercules is doing it for selfish reasons, because the only reason why he wants to get the fleece is because it once belonged to Zeus, and like Ares, of course, stole it. So he thinks, hey, this can impress my father. Somehow Chiron knows that. Chiron knows everything, man. And so like Hercules lies to him and goes on this journey anyway. Is there like, on the Argus, they have to like get a boat. And it's that of like, I think Yavina's cousin or something like that. And so, they're on the boat and everything. And all of a sudden, they spot a woman on the shores of Ithaca. And this woman is just like there, and she's kind of like humming this kind of like song, I think. And she is a siren. And sirens were known for shipwrecking men on their boats and everything. Their beauty is like, the most fairest of them all, and their songs can like brainwash a guy to doing whatever they want. And so, they want to like, drop anchor and rescue this woman. And Yavina's all like, look, man, she needs rescuing, rescue her. But Hercules doesn't want to stop for nothing. But he doesn't know about the sirens yet. And so when they go there, this woman is kind of like dancing for them and giving them drinks and stuff like that. And the boys are just having a great time. But then things start to go a little crazy. This woman all of a sudden starts to morph into Discord. And so she has drugged them, spiked their drinks, and now they're hallucinating to where they think they're seeing monsters and stuff like that. So of course they start attacking one another. Two of the guys run out, and Hercules realizes something crazy is going on. So he's like, tying everybody up and having Aeolus knock him out and everything. And in the morning, everything's all better. But then they realize the woman is gone, and two of their colleagues are dead on the beach shore because they killed each other. This causes strife between that, or like a rift between that of Hercules and Aeolus. Aeolus is kind of like, look, man, I don't want to die because you want to get the fleece for your father. Because at this point in time, Hercules revealed who his dad is and stuff to the guys, and they couldn't believe that Zeus is, Hercules' father. And Aeolus is all like, look, man, the gods are pissed off because, and they're trying to kill us because of you. So this causes major problems between those two. So they head back on the boat, and like we get a scene between Hercules and Yavina. Now earlier, before they went to Ithaca, she tried to confess, why she is going for selfish reasons and stuff, but she wasn't. And so then when Hercules is upset and everything, and he's talking to her, she's all like, I'm doing this for selfish reasons too. And she finally confesses why she joined the academy. Her village was taken over by marauders. And so she tells the guys and everything, like, first she started talking about how, like, she fought hard, but then, they still fell. And the guys all like, wow, you must have taken out so many guys, because they didn't see that coming from a girl. She runs, and later on she talks to Hercules, and basically she tells him she ran and hid. She didn't fight the marauders. She was too much of a coward and everything. And because of that, her entire family was murdered. And so she realizes that's why she went to the academy, because she wants to train and free the rest of her town's people. And she realizes that if she goes on this quest for the Golden Fleece, then she'll know she's ready to take on whatever, those marauders can like dish out and everything. And it's a really hurtful, like emotional scene. There's no flashbacks, but just the way she explains it conveys so much emotion. Like, I just love it, you know what I'm saying? But then at some point in time, more bad stuff is happening. A 50-foot wave went up on the deck and washed away a couple of the rest of the Argonauts and everything. And also the captain, her cousin. So Aeolus is like super pissed, and Jason's all like, everybody shut up, we're still going to like, the island to get the fleece and this and that. So, they're walking around and everything, and they're looking for the fleece, and they have no idea what's going to await them, like what kind of like traps or whatever. There are no traps, but there is a giant that lives on the island. He's a friend of Ares. And so like when they go to get like the fleece, it's a golden like ram's skin and everything. And it's really beautiful looking and stuff. And so like Aeolus all like, that's it. So he just walks over and takes it, like, well, that was easy. But then everything starts to shake and we see the giant. The giant, and I kid you not, is played by Shane Douglas. No, not that Shane Douglas. This is a New Zealand actor. And he has like razor sharp teeth, and they did the best they could to convey a giant being. And they've done giant stuff before on the Hercules and Xena show, but in this one it was a little goofy, like the way he was walking, and they're trying to make it overly dramatic and shake the camera a lot, and everybody's freaked out. They don't know what the heck they're gonna do. You know what I'm saying? And so like Hercules never fought a giant before. He doesn't even know how to kill one yet. And so they're trying their best. The two guys that are there, the rest of the Argonauts, because there's only, other than Yavina, Hercules, Aeolus, and Jason, there's only two more Argonauts that are still alive. Lydius or something like that, and Tamus or something like that. And so the two guys get knocked out. Everybody's getting blown by the dude's breath and everything. Yavina, is like, she steals the fleece and she's trying to like lure the giant to like a different location so the other guys can get like the best him. But he gets pissed and knocks her flying into some like a building or something like that. So this pisses Hercules off, and he gets like a giant tusk, like a giant sized tusk, or like a bone, something like that. And he has the guy basically slingshot him up in the air, and he literally stabs the giant in the forehead with the spike. And in the actual movie, not when they was on Fox Kids, but in the movie, they show it dangling on his forehead as the dude falls back and die. After that, they get the fleece and they try to save Yavina. But she's quickly dying and everything. And she's, in her last couple of like breaths, she tells like, Hercules, I wasn't scared this time. Like, cause she was a coward before when the marauders came. But for the first time, like, she wasn't scared, and she actually tried to fight a giant. And as she's crying in his arms, she tells him, promise me that you're, and then she just dies. She didn't even get to finish her sentence. And Hercules is really upset. They put the fleece on her, trying to save her. Because the fleece can, like, cure you from any ailment, but it cannot bring you back from the dead. And at this point in time, she has now just died. So it can stop you from the blink of death, but she's already dead. So he's upset. They cremate her body. And at this point, Hercules is all like, screw the gods, man. He doesn't care about none of them. And he doesn't care about his father. Because he literally, because there was like a really cool monologue between Hercules um, on the boat and just talking to up in the sky, hoping Zeus would hear him and be all like, you had love for my mother, but though, like, do you not have none for me? And, he's scared and people are dying and, and he put his friends on this mission and he just screams up at the clouds, talking about like, answer me and everything. And Zeus won't answer him. And, he's done with all the gods and everything at this point. Now, these are the two dudes who survived the Argonauts, which are never shown in the adult version. Now, one of them with the braids is, I can't say his name, Tung Garsa Emily. He's a New Zealand actor, but the black dude is Mufando Morrison. He was born in America, but then at some point he moved over to New Zealand and started starring in their TV shows and movies. I think he's like the sixth American I know of that moved on over to New Zealand. And he was in like episodes of like the older Hercules show. He was in Xena in about 2 episodes. And he was even in Young Hercules in about 6 episodes, playing a completely different character. And he was even in 1 episode of the last season of Power Rangers and stuff. So at this point in time, since Hercules keep beating all their defenses, Discord is pissed. And I mean, she's pissed. And she's talking about how she's just gonna kill Hercules herself, not even let nobody else do it. And Ares is all like, go home, and somehow he teleports her back home, and it's like a wrinkle effect, or a ripple effect. Now, one thing that's weird about Discord and Ares in this is that Ares is kind of flirtatious towards her, yet they're supposed to be brother and sister. This is another continuity problem, like when it comes to that of Aphrodite and Hephaestus. Hephaestus was shown in the adult version of Hercules as being in love with Aphrodite. But the problem with that is that in Young Hercules, it's shown that Hephaestus is actually the brother of Hercules. I mean, he is the brother of Aphrodite. But yet in the Hercules series, they always show those two as lovers. It's weird, man. Like I'm telling you, it's weird. So at this point, Ares is ready to fight Hercules himself. So they use the fleece on Aeson and he lives. And they're all happy and they're excited, but Ares goes and snaps his neck. And he stabs Jason in the gut. You can see him stab him in the gut, but later on when they show the wound, it's in the chest. Can't even get that right. So Hercules is pissed and all like, why'd you do this? And so this is when Ares reveals that I'm your long lost brother and everything. Like I'm Ares, like the god of war, and I hate your guts and everything. And it's time to rumble. Like he literally says it's time to rumble. So they have this huge, elaborate fight outside on scaffolding because they was building his statue. And so it's this wooden scaffolding and these wooden like pillars that Hercules and Ares have to like stand on, these huge beams and fight, very reminiscent of how Hercules trained. So that came back into fruition and everything. And they're punching, they're kicking each other, they're using like logs as like staffs. The logs have like flames on it. It's a really cool fight, man. But Ares does not use his powers for some reason. He's not teleporting around. He's not like, going giant. He's not shooting lasers out. He's not shooting plasma balls out like he does in a television show. Instead, he actually shoots fire out of his mouth, which is a first that he's never done before. And so they're just punching the crap out of each other. And Hercules is getting his legit butt kicked. But Ares is also getting his butt kicked. But when Ares shoots fire out of him, the flames go in his eyeballs, and he tells Aeolus he can't see. So Aeolus jumps on his shoulders and everything, and be like, "I'm gonna be your eyes." Now the whole shoulder scene is odd and weird, because you think Ares would strike at that point in time because Hercules is blind and he's trying to like hold somebody on his shoulders. And so they do the whole right foot forward, right foot back thing, like Chiron taught him. But it doesn't make no sense in this scene to do that. But then a couple of seconds later, he can see again, and he throws Iola's arm to safety. And so Hercules is fighting him like more and more. Like I said, it's a great action scene. Like it will get your blood pumping and stuff. But then he decides he's gonna like, this flipping around to, oh, I missed the flips. Like superhero shows should be doing crap like this, man. So in a way, he knocks Ares down in the fire, and then he uses like one of the beams to knock down the statue head, and it falls down on Ares, and Ares just like disappears and all like, this is just the beginning, little brother, and blah 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 and crap like that. Because they have like so many epic fights in like the Legendary series and stuff. And so after that, they use the fleece on Jason, and it cures him right before Jason was about to die. So Hercules has decided, now that Jason is no longer the prince and is now the soon-to-be king of Corinth, he departs from Jason and tells him, like, I think I'm going to do something good with my life. I'm going to help people and wander the world and just like, help people as much as I can and stuff like that. So now he's about to start becoming that hero that everybody knows and loves. Aeolus has decided that he's going to follow him and everything and help him on like his journey, his legendary journeys, But then when you get into the television show, it shows that like they're still at the academy and like they do wander the world here and there to help people, but it's mostly at the academy because the television show is more geared towards kids. So yeah, like I said before, this is a very good, very action-packed like movie and stuff. Like, this was like the good old days when things were just good to watch. You know what I'm saying? Like, you just don't see good television like this anymore. And it's quite a shame because everything is so formulaic now, and this was just the good old days. And I really wish more younger people today could watch this movie, but most people have never heard of this because it's not on streaming. And then mostly, unless you're looking for it on YouTube, you're not going to see it pop up nowhere. And of course, you'll have to pay for it. And it's a shame because there's only like 2 clips on the internet, like a trailer and a TV commercial for like this movie. Nobody talks about this movie, period. I mean, period. Nobody talks about this movie on YouTube. And that's why, like, they talk about the Young Hercules show. Like, what one reviewer that talks about the Young Hercules television show, and other people have interviews that they uploaded of Ryan Gosling talking about his time at Young Hercules, because at first he was a little bit ashamed because when it got canceled, he blamed himself. But then as the years passed on and his fan base grew, he's come to appreciate his Young Hercules show, and he's proud of it and everything, and he should be. It was a good show, but it broke continuity, and it was a little geared more towards like a younger audience and everything. Alrighty, well, I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.